Now, still fast on the heels of decoding the intention of the letter written by UK lawmakers, that is insurgent UK lawmakers, right Commonwealth over killings in Nigeria upon September 23, 2020. Still fast on the heels of decoding the intention behind it and the intention of the terror alert that Nnamdi Kanu raised, on October 1, that there is going to be terrorist attack. We have seen in a little bit of the American angle and all that. Because as I told you that these different London Boko Haram terrorists are controlled by all these different, European countries. America is controlling some. United Nations even is controlling some, and I told you France is controlling some, and America is controlling some and all that, and they are using the hip-hop radio to pass the signal and all that. Still fast on the hill, because this particular edition I'm doing, this Mortal Kombat, it's not like the other ones I used to do before. Those ones I do before are, they are just marathon broadcasts. But this one, this particular Mortal Kombat and final showdown for Biafran restoration, this is my main battle as for the final realization of the Biafran Republic. So it's always constantly progressive. It's always constantly progressive. I use it, it is progressive in the sense that, it's progressive. It accumulates developments as they occur, until we get to the climax, as I'm defining to you, the various methods we are going to use to achieve the Biafran Republic. So it has to accommodate current developments, and all my writings, like I told you, they are precise, sentient and precise. The publishers can always tell you the days when all these things are sent. The one of the last one that was published, go and look at when it was on 30th, on the eve, and this one now is coming. Today is what, the 7th of October, that we are, continue to rerun this particular one, to accommodate other things and then move forward from where we stopped the last time. And I'm going to send this one out today as I'm recording this particular thing. The publisher is going to get it today. So that as in a little while, because it goes through you people don't know the type of satanic forces we encounter in the series of trying to bring all these things to you. You don't know what the hard work that goes into this particular thing that we do. You don't know the pains and agonies that goes into this preparation and the forces that we combat daily on it, to do it. So it's always like, when you publish, people go there, like the one they called Prince Abel, whom I say before the end of 2020, he is going to suffer, because he was the first man to comment. After the level of the pain that somebody went through, the first thing you go there to see this man is talking rubbish. And every time you come again, in this particular edition, you come again and the right time talking rubbish. So why don't you keep away? So that is it. So going quickly down, and that is a warning, to other ones who will follow them. When you say your intention as it is, I don't care, no matter how derogatory it is, it doesn't really matter. But when your intention is to remove the focus of the people of God from what you are doing, then you're in trouble. You're not talking to me, you're not fighting me. You understand me? You're not fighting me. Jesus Christ suffered humiliation. So no matter what I go through, it doesn't really pain me, but you are eventually going to suffer the consequences. So these messages are very, very important for you to really understand the present, the present truth of the present time that we are living in. And that is very, very important to you. So don't joke with it. So in that hill, let us see, we have been reading this letter of the lawmakers and all that. Let us go back a little bit and examine the United Nations. I've already read this particular one in my former edition, but it's important that I bring it because of the legal documentation of the series that we are doing. Progressing from the concern of the British lawmakers, let us see. This is United Nations expressed concern over high rate of extrajudicial killings in Nigeria. I want you to know the date. Vanguard, September 3, 2009. How many months away? Vanguard, September 3, 2009. This is more than a month today. Let me just recap a little bit of the letter. It said, the United Nations Special Rapporteur for Extrajudicial and Arbitrary Execution, Agnes Callianad, has expressed concern over the high rate of extrajudicial killings in the country. The United Nations envoy, whose official visit to Nigeria ends today, that day is the 3rd of September 2009, It's in the country to examine situation of violations of the right of life by state and non-state actors, the federal state security strategy, and the response at federal and state levels to allegations of arbitrary deprivation of life. She arrived the country August 19, 2019. According to Kalana, the overall situation, and I'm quoting her, according to her, the overall situation that I encounter in Nigeria gives rise to extreme concern by many measures. The federal authorities and the international partners are presiding over an injustice pressure cooker. Some of the specific contexts I examine are simmering. The warning signs are flashing bright red. Increased number of attacks and killings over the last 5 years, with a few notable exceptions, increased criminality and spreading insecurity, widespread failure by the federal authorities to investigate and hold perpetrators to account, even for mass killings. A lack of possible trust and confidence in the judicial institution and state institutions, more generally a high level of resentment and grievances within and between communities, toxic ethno-religious narratives, and extremist ideologies, characterized by dehumanization of the others, in quote, and denial of the legitimacy of the others, claims a generalized breakdown of the rule of law with particular acute consequences for the most vulnerable and impoverished population of Nigeria. End of quote. Continue with the report. She observed that a weak rule of law and this breeding crisis were informed with problems of a nationwide population explosion and the increased rate of extreme poverty, which characterized the reality for roughly half of the Nigerian population. Kala has stated further. This is exemplified by the spreading environmental degradation and desertification evident throughout West Africa. It is also fed by the increasing proliferation of small and military-grade weapons made readily available as a result of regional instability originating, according to some reports, from as far north as the Libyan conflict. This nationwide and broader regional pressures applied against Nigerians, diverse political economic systems, and country-wide patterns of violence, many of which are simmering, spinning out of control. They are claiming the lives of thousands and includes, for instance, arbitrary killings in the context of the military conflict in the north of the country against Boko Haram and splinter group, the conflict in the Middle Belt, along with some pause in the northeast and south between Fulani herdsmen and farming communities belonging to various ethnic groups, cultism in the oil-producing South-South states and other well-organized criminal gangs, local militia engaged in mining and cattle rustling in the northwest, particularly Zamfara, the repression of the indigenous people of Biafra, of the Islamic movement of Nigeria, and the movement for the survival of Ogoni people. In June 2019, the World Poverty Clock reported that over 91 million, 46.5% of 200 million Nigerians were living in extreme poverty, and the mass expulsion of slum dwellers in Lagos and elsewhere, and more generally, greed-motivated policies and intervention resulting in killings. Countrywide pattern includes police and military excessive use of lethal force in violation of applicable international standards, the lack of effective investigation, the absence of meaningful prosecution, the militarization of policy, all of which are compounded by the lack of transparency and effective communication strategy over the vast majority of security issues, fueling further distrust and breakdown of confidence in the security agencies. The federal state contains their subsystem of violence by relying largely on military and secularization strategies. In some settings, this may have halted the process of the insecurity, at least on the surface, and reduced the rate of killings. Example, in the Northeast. However, in many others, the security responses appears to have only added new grievances and fostered further distrust without either curbing insecurity or better protecting the local population, particularly those living in isolated areas. This includes the conflict of the Middle Belt, for instance. In yet other eco-political systems of violence, the security response is dangerously quasi-prospective, with individuals, communities, and associations are actively targeted for what they may have done decades ago or for what they may do or may become, rather than for what they are doing or have done. Example, members of the IMN, IPOB. Throughout the country, the securitization strategy has also been used by local power holders to enforce arbitrary and unlawful policies, decisions, and actions, such as the mass expulsion of city dwellers living at the margins to give way to money-making condominiums or other private public developments. Security responses lacking in fairness or justice are exacerbating the weakness of the policing and judicial institutions, which lack the strength to resist the increasing pressure under which they are placed by virtue of the increasing commodity conflict and security hotspots. The United Nations, end of quote. The United Nations envoy suggested that the government and the international community needed to prioritize the situation in Nigeria, adding that arbitrary killings could not be condoned. Still quoting her, there must be a real plan in case of the police killings, also the conflict in the Middle Belt and Fulani farmers conflict. It must be prioritized as fast as possible because it is spreading fast. We need a solution to that. We call upon the Nigerian government to look for a shorter, immediate humanitarian solution. Displaced persons and farmers are living in fears, lack of investigation into police killings, and lack of access to justice are worrisome, she added. When was this letter written? It was written a month ago. Look at it. September 3, more than a month ago, September 3, 2019. Did United Nations do anything about it? The question is, what are they waiting for? Now, following in that, because this is, for people who believe that, that the United Nations will come and conduct a referendum for them. The people like Pope, they say it's a referendum from the United Nations. I'm showing you, now look at, I'm showing you the faces of the Boko Haram commanders that we're seeing in this thing. The real superheroes, that are controlling these people, the villains, the men, Luciferic spirits. Now look at this report again, United Nations, before we go back to the lawmakers of UK lawmakers. I'm showing you the accomplices. It said, Euro's pushback of migrants, shameful. United Nations Refugee Chief. This is Guardian of October 5, 2020, 2 days ago. Watch it. The other one was more than a month ago. Did they do anything? What are they waiting for? They are waiting for what the trap they have set, which is Rwanda. Now let me just quickly read this report for you. He said the United Nations Refugee Chief from one of the lambasted countries which closed their doors to desperate migrants and Europe's shameful refusal to allow migrants stranded at sea to disembark quickly. Filippo Grandi, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, said migrants and refugees around the world were continuing to take dangerous routes towards safety and opportunity. The solution for their destination countries, Grant told the opening of the United Nations Refugee Agency main annual meeting, cannot be to close the door. We cannot allow xenophobic reactions only meant to draw facile consensus and electoral votes to shape responses to challenges that are complex but manageable. He warned of the dangerous lines of thinking emerging in some of the world's richest countries. Externalizing asylum beyond a conflict borders violate international law, put the lives of the most vulnerable in jeopardy, and constitute precedents which threaten asylum globally. End of his quote. I'm still going. What is it? You are going to, maybe you are going to, let me say London, and you want to go, I don't know, the route that they take, you want to go through Libya and all that. You are not, or you are going to, you want to go to Italy, you're already in Libya and all that. You have not even reached your destination. And they will tell those countries to stop you, that you are not going to come in. You are not even into their territory. So that is what he's explaining. He said in particular, he highlighted the case of 27 migrants stranded in the Mediterranean Sea for nearly 40 days on a Danish freighter before it was finally permitted to dock in Italy earlier this month. States, quoting him, states try to live up to their responsibilities as a European. I find it shameful that it took more than 1 month to disembark just what? 27 people. You see, they have not reached Italy, but they have stopped them. Only 27 people. 1 month, more than 1 month in the Mediterranean. You can imagine the sorrows that those people go through. So the report continues. The Italian stressed that people will continue to flee unless the root causes of their flight are what? Solved. Remember the special rapporteur that they sent that highlighted this more than a month ago. The root causes. Did they do anything? Now look at it. Still opening, still quoting him. Reducing search and rescue capacity or impeding those who engage to save others or pushing back people without due process will not stop people from moving. It will only lead to more deaths and the further erosion of refugee protection. Now, deep and disappointment still going on. Gandhi meanwhile welcomed the European Commission recent proposal for a new path on migration and asylum, calling it a unique opportunity to set out clearly how responsibilities will be shared. In an address colored by the complexities of the COVID-19 pandemic, Gandhi also voiced deep disappointment and the low number of refugees being resettled from precarious situations to their third countries. Still quoting him, in 2019, fewer than 64,000 refugees were resettled, less than 0.25% of the world's refugees in a constantly declining trend. End of quote, he said. The United States, which traditionally has resettled the most refugees, has slashed those numbers under President Donald Trump, offering to take in a record low of just 15,000 refugees next year, down from more than 100,000 under Trump's predecessor Barack Obama. Gandhi also warned of the deteriorating situation in African Sahel. Have you seen it? African Sahel, Nigeria, most especially Nigeria. You understand me? He said he had recently visited the region, which he described as the theater of one of the most worrying situations, a political security and humanitarian crisis which has displaced millions. Compare it with the report of the first rapporteur they sent more than a month ago. Look at it. Let me repeat the quote. He said he had recently visited the region which he described as the theater of one of the most worrying situations, a political security and humanitarian crisis which has displaced millions. Few situations have shocked me as much as the violence, the brutality, including horrifying stories of gruesome mothers or parents in front of their children. In the past year alone, more than 600,000 people have been forced to flee their homes in the region. Thousands of schools have been destroyed and thousands of women raped. Gandhi said, we need to restore a sense of urgency in the Sahel response system. Look at the Sahel. West Africa, and Central. Look at it. Look at this horrifying report. And what did you get from the United Nations? And these are people, Namdekala and Co. Those janjaweed who are claiming United Nations will come here and conduct a referendum for them. Biafra is not going to come through United Nations conducted a referendum. It's not going to be, okay? The restoration of Biafra is going to be the last vestige, the removal of the last vestige of colonialism in Africa. We are going to dismantle them and put to shame, the record that was several years ago that continued to play that whites are subhuman, the intellectual superiority of the white men over the black men. Biafrans are going to dethrone it. They cannot create us. They are humbies or besom. Those are common criminals you see working on the street. Okay? And I'm going to fight them, and I'm going to make sure that they are end in jail. Those leadership of United Nations, they are going to be dissolved. They are humbies. We are going to create ourselves. United Nations did not create all these European countries. They never created them. So we are going, Biafra will be a unique country. By the time I outline, how Biafra will be, we are going to create our own. We are going to create ourselves. We will create ourselves. Countries recognize them. We recognize us. We don't need, my formula does not in any way, connotes to these humbies. You look at them, you think they are human beings. These are animals. Look at it. Look at a report like this. Compare the two reports, and you see what is coming down. See what is coming down for you to know that your geese is cooked. It's only you. By the time I define your part, you will play. That I can see you out. Now look at it. Before Trump came over, when they first planned this terrorist attack, you remember it? That was what got Chancellor, Merkel in problem in Germany. Remember the open door policy? They were trying to, allow us, free border and all that, just to disembowel Africa. When they first planned this jihad, that I told you, the emergence of President Trump was what stopped it. And that is, I'm still going to come. They are connected to the positive testing of President Donald Trump. I still come and meet it. I'm the one who will tell him how he's going to win that election. I'm the one who will save him. But let me not digress until it gets to him. You understand me? Now look at it. You see it? When immediately Trump won, what did happen? Open border and that was Shebi, they stopped it. Now they are not allowing you to come to their countries. They stop you, they are not even allowing you to go to other countries. And then they put chaos and destruction in your own country. So where are you going to run to? Johnny, too bad. One of these days, when you hear voice say, come, Johnny, where are you going to run to? You're going to run to the rock for rescue, but there be no rock. No rock, you're gonna run to the rock for rescue, but there be no rock. You see it, we have hit a hard rock, between a hard rock and the deep blue sea. So no matter whatever alternative we die, men must die, and they must die in millions. So we have to judiciously use our death to die, so that our succeeding generation will reach. No, stay back to the letter, I'm showing you the connotations, so that you will understand exactly what is going on. Now look at it. Let me read this letter for you. Insurgents, United Kingdom lawmakers write Commonwealth over killings in Nigeria. This is one. No, this is not the one I want to read. Let me read another one for you. This was the one they wrote on what? This is the one they wrote on September 23, 2020, which was the subject of Nnamdi Kalu's broadcast, which we are going to pieces and digest for people to understand what we are. Before then, what happened? Look at this one. United Kingdom Parliament, killing in Nigeria, disturbing, must stop. This is Tribune of 30th of June, 2018. So what are they waiting since 2018? Are they not here? Look at it, let me read it for you to know that what they are writing today is a hoax. It's just rubbish, nonsense, coded signal. I'm going to decode for you. Look at it, it says the United Kingdom Parliament, the same Parliament, has described recent killings by Fulani herdsmen and other violent acts in the north-central state of Nigeria as deeply disturbing, urging President Muhammadu Buhari to take urgent steps to stop the carnage. Lord Artin of Liverpool, look at him, Lord, raised the Nigerian security issues at the House of Lords on Thursday, drawing support from members across party lines. The verbatim report on the debate of the Nigerian security challenge by the United Kingdom House of Lords are contained in the Parliament Records website, INS Parliament, just leave it. A cross-section of the UK lawmakers who spoke on the killings in Nigeria described the scale and the frequency of the attacks as disturbing and alarming. Lord Artin, who raised the issue, spoke on the, I'm quoting him, more than 200 people, mostly women and children, who were killed in sustained attacks on 50 villages by armed Fulani militia just this past weekend, adding that people are dying daily. This alone should serve as a wake-up call. Are we to watch one of Africa's greatest countries go the way of Sudan? Will we be indifferent as radical forces sweep across the Sahel seeking to replace diversity and differences with a monochrome ideology that will be imposed with violence on those who refuse to comply? We must not wait for a genocide to happen as it did in Rwanda. Ominously, history could easily be repeated. Atin did what? Atin warned. What is it? What was it? Tribune 30th of June 2018. And these are world records. This war, we are going to bring Britain down in your streets. We are going to say it. Carry out this jihad and you see. You will be strangulated in your streets. Look at me and get me. Anytime I'm committing an offense, they want to deport me. Take me to Abuja. Take me straight to Abuja, to Nigeria. Because this war, we are going to fight. This war, we are going to fight and fight and fight this war. Then we see one day, we never dream of fighting another war again. Because in 2018, well, is there any difference between this? And the one they are coming to tell you, and people are debating and talking that sort of rubbish. They are dealing with criminals, you know. Criminals. Now look at it. Look at it. Now, let us go down to, let's go down to Nnamdi Kalu's broadcast of Sunday. This, the 4th of October 2020, let us just go back to that broadcast of Sunday, 4th of October, just last Sunday, how many days ago? Just, how many days ago? Just look at the Sunday. From there, we jumped to the one, and I said the one, he dealt with the letters of this United Kingdom parliamentarians, We go there and we deal with Nnamdi Kalu's broadcast of Sunday, the 4th of October 2020. He started with stressing the importance of the people downloading the app of Radio Biafra. I've told you that Radio Biafra will be the operational command. Very soon, Nnamdi Kalu, they are going to remove him from Facebook and all that. So this Radio Biafra, you cannot even get it online again unless you download that app. And that app is what is connected to the Fulani Fufude language and all that. All these terrorists, they have that radio. So as people are now talking about what is happening in Biafra land, they be getting the situation report and know where to strike. That is the only thing. That is their last chain of command. So if you want to remove that particular thing, you have to dislodge Nnamdi Kalu's iPod. Even at that, I was seeing him in his today's broadcast. He was talking about Radio Biafra and all that. How government Buhari have approved 650 million to dislodge Radio Biafra and all that. The target is not Radio Biafra. The target is BVI and all that. And they want, if they close the Radio Biafra, so that every other person now will go through the community radio. That is the signal that is there. They will force you to go through that community radio. That is their closing arm. So that immediately the thing strike, the operation starts, as you are shouting, Fulani is attacking in Nobi. Whatever security arrangement you are making, as you are saying it on the radio, they are taking their orders from there. IPOB radio must be closed down if you are going to win this war. We don't need it. It has become a potent instrument for the enemy to dislodge us and exterminate us. We are going to run Nnamdi Kalu aground, run the crazy barheads out of town completely. All their members, we are going to run them out of town. If they want to be members of this thing, they must denounce IPOB before they can be legitimate to join whatever we are doing. And they will take it there, because they took oath to belong to IPOB. Look at it. That was why what? That was why God, when Gideon was wanting to fight, he told them, take Jerubbaal, take them to the water. I will separate them. What happened? The people that knelt down, you don't know the separation, you don't know what God did there. There are people that lapped water like the dog. You lap water like the dog means you are fearless. People that knelt down have already seen something that overwhelmed them. They worship the water. That is the reason why how God separated them. They already do what? they worship the creature and not the creator. That was the separation. So these people that are worshiping Nnamdi Kanu, they are not any dead in this final combat. I'm telling you, we don't need them. I will outline how we are going to do it. It doesn't even need too many. I'm going to outline their own what you are going to do. We are going to externalize whatever we are doing now. I'm telling you, because very soon all the BVI, they are going to close it. So we are taking our fight overseas. So we are going to enter into the plan, the second step of how we realize it. Take it off from our people, and we are going to realize it. Already in today's broadcast, they have come up with the alternative of what they want to kill that man, to shoot the man they call Buhari there. They want to shoot him because of the expose we are making here. They have passed order through Nnamdi Kanu that man should be shot, and it will be a public something, so that they end the saga of Jubre because of the expose we are making here. That is exactly what is happening. So they have passed order for that man to be executed publicly. Either I don't know how they are going to arrange it. So I'm saying this so that the world will take notice. That is what they have done. So I'm still coming to that. So Nnamdi Kanu Sunday broadcast of 4th of October 2020. Goes on ranting about, Pastor Enoch Adiboye, another antichrist pastor. I will come to them. I told you 2 Trojan horses that must be thrown before Biafra will come. IPOB and what? Yoruba pastoral churches, all these Pentecostal, all of them. We are going to define what is called Christianity. And when we enter into religion, I will tell you religion that will be permitted into Biafra land, not all these things that they are talking about. You understand me? Not all these things they are talking about. Ranting about Pastor Diboy and others, about the children of the allies occupying positions in the parastatal, then branch into the main coded message. And I'm quoting him. I told you Jibril al-Sudani was gone. A new person is there. I'm very, very sorry to say it. That even Abubakar Shekau knows the person that is there. Abubakar Shekau knows the boyfriend of Aisha Buhari. His name is Yusuf Muhammad. Now, let me just stop. His name is Yusuf Muhammad. Now, let me just digress a little bit and acquaint us with some certain glaring, things out of Nnamdi Kanu that shows that he's a complete saboteur. Let's interrogate some of his actions, that people are not saying, those who attribute it to envy and jealousy and others. Now, all of Nnamdi Kanu's broadcast, is there anything with Biafran restoration in perspective? That is the question they should be asking him. Now, in Nnamdi Kanu's original plan, did he factor in Jubril Aminu al-Sudani as a way of getting Biafra or what? These are questions that we have to interrogate him. Then, if Nnamdi Kanu suddenly dies today, what is the way forward for his followers? How did they progress, without him? These are some of the questions, we have to ask. What is the security situation in Biafra land as of today, as I'm talking to you, explaining things and precautions that you will take to save yourself from the viewpoint of IPOB that is claiming glory for everything? What is their situation report, and what are they doing to counter it? Exactly what is the roadmap for Nnamdi Kanu of getting Biafra for you people as of today? That is the point. And then how is he countering the attack, that we are saying? You understand me? So people don't know what is happening. Go and look at since we started making expose on Nnamdi Kanu. Suddenly, all these attacks and hyper, tension of Fulani massacre and all that in the southeast, you see that it have reduced because of the expose. We are shining the light on him. They reduce it. And this is how the saboteurs are crawling out as you see them one by one. That was why I never supported the jail in what he's doing. I support the jail to the extent that he was exposing Nnamdi Kanu. But here's another bigger devil they want to use and replace Nnamdi Kanu, because he is claiming that there is no jihadist laundered in Biafra land, which was a lie. It was what his people told him. I don't know if the situation is facing today, but I pray to God that he get out of it. And this is a warning signal, because all of them that say Biafra will not come have one thing that happens to them. This is one warning to him. If he repeats it again, he is going to die. It's just like the other one I was listening to Master Prophet. He says 7 years. If you don't recant that thing and you put it 7 years, you are off. You will not say it. Any of you that mention that Biafra is not coming is off. I'm telling you. That brings us back to Wazirike. I'm going to tell you how we are going to tackle all these saboteurs in Biafra land. It started well, but it's ending up badly. he came up to make a video to tell you that hang on, there is nothing like Fulani. They did it. All of them are connected to Nnamdi Kanu to blow him up, you know, just to make him have reference, and also what? To remove the attention of people from seeing that since we started this expose on Nnamdi Kanu, the Fulani is now a little bit on the run. Situations have changed dramatically because their chain of command is being affected. Use their teeth, use their tongue to count their teeth, if what I'm saying is a lie. So these are questions that don't let him go away from it. Situate him there and let him answer the questions. You know, so back to his Aisha boyfriend, Aisha girlfriend is Yusuf Muhammad. So he killed it in as a means of his getting Biafra for you. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it when I had it, I was shocked. That is why, by the grace of God in heaven, I never ever make mistake in my life when it comes to Biafra restoration. I told you before, the boy that was there before was Jubril al-Sudani. As soon as he left, as soon as he ran to Cuba and refused to come back, they were waiting for me to say it's Jubril al-Sudani, Aisha boyfriend. I never knew that Shekau knows the name of the boy. On the 1st of October, a few days ago, Shekau actually mentioned the name of the boy. The boy's name is Yusuf Muhammad. Unbelievable. So even Boko Haram that they created knows the person who is now wearing the mask. I'm going to end, I'm putting what he said. Go, everybody should go. Now watch this very Okoko bandit. After passing this very loaded signal, veered into Pastor Enoch Adiboye, blah, 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 blah. Nnamdi Kanu has just passed the order that henceforth they will be receiving their order from Boko Haram Shekau, that will now be releasing statements that will be coded with orders for the London terrorists, and also correct the impostor that have changed from Jubril al-Sudani to Yusuf Muhammad because of my statement on the Radio Biafra on 27 and 28 September. He said he knows he cannot continue to pass that order of Zeke, John Kerry, John Campbell, and all that. So they are now trying to divert it. It will now go through Adiboye, the pastors, all these anti-Christ pastors that are posing as general overseers and all that. I call them what? The foundations and the pasticians. I told you 2 Trojan horses that is remaining that will be dealt with. Foundations are what? Reverend fathers, politicians, and pasticians are what? Pastors. I tell you, we are going to do it with language semantics. Pasticians are pastor politicians. So we are going to deal with them. So he knows he cannot continue again, so they are channeling it through these people. So he's gradually introducing them and removing himself out. That is what is happening here. Continuing, Nnamdi Kanu said, blah, 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 blah. And now, Enoch Adiboye is now telling the federal government to find a lasting solution to our agitation. I never knew it will come to this, which means everybody now understands the potency of what we are doing. Interpretation, church and state, comrades in arms, as solution to give federal government a soft landing, now rooted through the church as prophecy in the name of God, through Pastor Adiboye restructuring request. Pastor Adiboye tell the world, first and foremost, the identity of the man you met in Aso Rock weeks ago. Is it a living Buhari, or was he another new one at present? Pastor Adiboye told us whom he met in Aso Rock up to today. That is exactly what is happening. So they are rooting the other through him. They come as prophecy. What Pastor Adiboye said was not different with what Ohaneze and all of them are deceiving themselves with. It was not different from Nnamdi Kanu's position. It was not different from what the prophetess they brought from the bottom of hell in New York came to do. All of them what? United States of Nigeria, whatever they call it. Now they are reading it as a prophecy. You see how they are deceiving you? That is what is coming up. Nnamdi Kanu continued, blah, blah, blah. If you want to create a system of government that is seemingly African in Nigeria, that system must take into account the monarchy system of the Yoruba, the federal system of the Arewa North, and the Republican system of the Biafran. And what I want Adiboye to understand, and anybody listening, is that nowhere in the whole world has any people succeeded to marry these three unique systems into one. It's not possible. Blah, 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 blah on meanings and Republic, and, he's continuing to do blah, blah, blah on Republics and Adiboye. Then, look at what you say. Unless you go to war and conquer, subdue people, nobody in the history of mankind has been able to reconcile three different systems into one. It is not done anywhere. Britain managed to do it, and they did it with conquest. Britain colonized and managed to use colonial conquest, to forcefully fuse three different systems into one. Now, you understand it, Siam, which is what order he have just passed. Meaning, order that must be obeyed. So now the color continues. So when our dear pastor is talking about something that is uniquely Nigerian, that thing can be British and it cannot be American either. As I am saying this is the very first time I'm observing what Facebook is doing. You see, after passing that dangerous order he passed, he just take Facebook to cover it. Blah, 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 blah. Now, notice how Nnamdi Kanu branch into, Facebook after delivering that very deadly signal. That is where you will locate the meaning of the dragon flag, which have been telling us that they have raised. Said they have raised. What Nnamdi Kanu just told the Fulani as order from the British and the American commanders is that the only way they can keep Nigeria one as of today is not by restructuring or any other thing, but by doing what Britain did at the time they had a similar problem. Let me report him. Unless you go to war, conquer and subdue people, nobody in the history of mankind has been able to reconcile three different systems into one. It is not done anywhere. Britain managed to do it, and they did it with conquest. Britain colonized and managed to use conquest, colonial conquest, to forcefully fuse three different systems into one. Now, you understand it? End of quote. What is the meaning? Immediate order to the Fulani Caliphate to replicate exactly what Britain did with Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales as the only way and hope of keeping Nigeria one. Meaning, Operation Dragon Flag is raised. What does it mean? Jihad. Now, what is this Operation Dragon Flag in medieval time? Because to understand all this, you have to be a very good student of history. Before you understand all this military code and all these things they are doing, because there is history replicating itself. What is the Dragon Banner? It's about the warfare Scottish sovereignty fought by Robert the Bruce, King of Scots. It's very much about brutal warfare and combat. Meaning what? In medieval time, Dragon Banner is essentially England's war flag during time of battle. The flag is a scarlet red dragon on a black banner. Basically meant that the prince had full authority to kill whomever he wanted in his pursuit of Robert. Who is the prince in this case? Buhari. That is when you hear him saying all those autocratic things. Autocratic, this, Buhari. Meaning what? Dragon Banner is a flag flown by the Prince of Wales, Billy Howell, son of King Edward, that is Stephen Delian, and the future King Edward II. After Robert killed English loyalist John Comyn, declared himself king and began to unite the Scots under his rule, the prince beseeches his father to allow him to put down the Bruce rebellion. In other words, it was a jihad the British fought against the Scots. That is exactly what Nnamdi Kanu means. And look at the color of the flag. Boko Haram flag. Dragon flag. I told you that Clinton is the dragon. I told you even when you want to bring it to my literal interpretation. They were the people who founded Boko Haram. Him and Obasanjo, I told you. I'm not deviating to enter into that. That is a separate case. So when they say they have raised Operation Dragon Flag, it's another Nnamdi Kanu told them to do what? Jihad is on. That the jihad is on. Even in these things we do, at times one gets very emotional, at times like that, you misquote date, which is even an opportunity for me to correct some mistakes I make in some days that I quoted before. Like the United Nations expressed concern over high rate of extrajudicial killing in Nigeria. That thing was when they sent their special rapporteur, that is Agnes Kalamad. That date, that was Vanguard of September 3, 2019, which was barely a year and 1 month ago. Look at this. In that time, the United Nations do anything? They didn't do anything. Then the one of, we have seen the one of the lawmakers we are talking about, that is insurgent UK lawmakers write common word over killings in Nigeria. This is Punch of September 23, 2020. Then we see the one of UK Parliament, killings in Nigeria disturbing, must stop. That is the same date I quoted, Tribune, 30th of June 2018. So it's very important to make all these reconciliations, because I don't know. I may have mispronounced one of the dates. I remember that I was shouting 2009. It's 2019, September, which is almost a year and something till when this second alarm came. Did you see them do anything? They have not done anything. So you have seen what Operation Dragon Flag means. It's what declaration of jihad, that their jihad will go on those who don't want to be sensible and look at what Nnamdi Kanu is doing, who believe in emotionalism. Still going down the speech that he made, because I'm still going down it so that we get it. It just continues, After the blah, 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 Facebook ranting by Nnamdi Kanu, he continues. Now, what for another signal after blah, blah, blah of republic, meaning of republic, he continues. Now, Catholic bishop of the Catholic Diocese, Archbishop Kuka, said Buhari, that is the mask wearer. Kuka said Buhari, Nigeria is literally full of blood. Reverse the clock before it is too late. The same thing Pastor Adiboye said. Adiboye was begging Aisha boyfriend, that is Yusuf Mohammed, the same way we have compared them to do something. That is why all of you must key into what we are doing. Now I want you to listen. The Catholic Bishop of Sokoto, Archbishop Matthew Kuka, has advised Buhari to look inwards and find a lasting solution to Nigerian problem. But there is no Buhari. I want Bishop Kuka to know this, and I want everybody to understand. If you are in doubt, go to my Facebook. Somebody is not my video. I wouldn't compare it. I have forgotten the name of the person. I actually gave him credit for it. I posted a video earlier today that Facebook in their infinite wisdom tried to suppress as much as possible. And all that I should always say in that very video, you can see the old dead Buhari and you can see the new one. And to make matters worse, the idiot was wearing a mask. In fact, he pulled it down as he was talking. In fact, you can see it, the floppy ear, how it was bent. There is nowhere on the earth, there is no human being on this earth wearing a face mask with Bomo ear, Kanda ear. Kanda, that one we eat, that have no value. Boma. I don't know what is Boma in English. Somebody should tell me in English language, what Boma means. If you look at the ear of the man, I am talking to Hassan Kuka. I am talking to Bishop Kuka. Please go to my page. You will see the ear of the man. He took a picture with Jonathan while they were deceiving themselves. Look at his ear, because Jonathan asked them, why did you bring this man to me? They will be shocked how I know this. They said, oh, it's very, we need to put up a front. We need to put up a front. Everywhere in the whole world, people have body double. Buhari is very sick. Once in a while, they bring out this one to come and deceive people. Do you want him to come out and be disgraced? Do you want him to come out and be disgraced? That was the reason why they are meeting and saying they can bring Jonathan back. Because Jonathan has seen that Aisha's boyfriend, Yusuf Mohammed, is not Buhari. You can see his ears. Now you can ask yourself, how come Jonathan's ear is not bent? They are wearing the same face mask. But Jonathan's ear is standing up. But the ears of this impostor, because it's silicon ear, you can see it bending down. Why do people insist on referring to Yusuf Mohammed, Aisha's boyfriend, as Buhari? I don't understand. And these are men of God. Let us just pause here. Is it the so-called Chukwuka Biama that told Nnamdi Kanu that Aisha's boyfriend is Yusuf Mohammed, or what? It has changed from, what is it? Jubril al-Sudani to, Muhammad or whatever he calls him. Now look at this particular thing, all this gibberish ranting, from this bloated fool. Is there anything in the pathway of Biafran restoration in all this rubbish that this guy is talking? And what I'm quoting for you is exactly what he said, on that his broadcast of, Sunday, the 4th of, what is the date? 4th of October, just a few days ago, 2020. This is sick. What I'm saying is sick, ibid. Exactly as he said it in the same broadcast. Go and check it. So look at it. Is it a case of malapropism? Is it a case of malapropism or what? Ask him whether I'm misinterpreting what he said. If it is not what he said, is there anything ranting, just connecting to perspective of Biafra restoration, all your boyfriend and all that and all that and all that? And I will tell you exactly what he has just said. And everything that is happening, they claim it is their glory. Go to their broadcast in the day. What do you get from their normal, all these babysitters, babysitter saboteurs, they call themselves their members. They sit by the window, eyes program. My name is Toku Emmanuel. I'm calling from Ebony. This independent, they hand over to us. And Namdi Azikiwe is the devil. That is what we hear. The other one is, thank God, our supreme leader, this. That is what you get from, that is all you get from all these chicken shit followers, this supreme traitor called Nnamdi Kanu. That's what you get. Regurgitation of the same thing, that is what they go and play in all the whole platforms, day to day, week to week, the same number of people that call, that is what they do. And then when their master goes off, that will cook in chief, or he will tell you, Aisha boyfriend, yeah. So how is that? Is that what is generating all the tension that is happening in Nigeria, that IPOP are claiming the glory? Zik himself, they are causing, gave them an autonomous region. Where is the autonomous region that Zik gave them today? Nothing. You're telling me? Nothing. But because they are reasoning. Now look at it. Let me just decode exactly that gibberish he was mounting up. Aisha boyfriend, this, talking about Diboy and Kuka, all these anti-class pastors. I told you, I created that word. Pasticians and what? Foundations. We are going to deal with them. When I deal with them, when we come to religion, you leave all those things. All their churches will be empty. I guarantee them that. We are going to deal with them. What Nnamdi Kanu have just said, now watch, go and listen, Google that thing and listen by yourself and understand what we are talking about. We are not joking here. Now watch, and after he give that signal, he will now make a detour. Now look, now watch, after passing this dangerous signal, started challenging the so-called antichrist pastors and the reverend fathers of Kuka and Adiboye, cursing them, blah, 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 on insecurity. What Nnamdi Kanu said above is that they are making mistake on the new impostor they brought in to replace Jubril al-Sudani, especially with his floppy face and bent ear, compared with the face of Jonathan standing with him, that they should correct it. Also, Jonathan and his wife had finally signed their death warrant. As I said in previous videos, they will both be eliminated with Asari Dokubo, in a little while, just to hide that secret. They have signed his death warrant. You can watch it. So all those Nnamdi Kanu gibberish, you can understand it when you align it that he is passing a signal. What is the signal? Standing with Jubril, standing with Jonathan, they are making a mistake. Now, when you go and look Buhari, they presented that day, and you look at the subsequent Buhari that will come out, go and check by your own self. You will find out that that ear has been corrected. That is what Nnamdi Kanu, they have been using him to do. when we say it, people are, out of negative emotions and all that. They come here and talk rubbish of jealousy and all that. Continue. Let me continue with that is particular thing. You see, all of you, I'm continuing with what you say, all of you know the solution. A very simple solution. All you need to do is to say to Asoro, if you don't restructure, I wouldn't call it restructuring. If you don't start the process of setting the people free within 4 months, we will come out and announce that the man there is Aisha boyfriend and not Buhari. Believe you me, 48 hours, everything will be over. Now look at it. He's just telling them what to do because of the pressure of the expose that we are making here. Pressure of the expose we are making. So now they're in a hurry. They don't know because we are checkmating everything that they are doing. And I have told you in subsequent broadcasts, we have persuaded that man should be killed, maybe in a queue or something like that. So they need him to be publicly shot. Let it be announced that man is dead, so that the issue of Jubril and this and all that, they will not be forced again to bring him. So now look at it, interpretation, very expressive. Did you hear him mention Biafra? Fighting for the structure. Did you hear Nnamdi Kanu mentioning about Biafra? He was doing what? Fighting for the structuring, like Ohaneze. That is Nnamdi Kanu who is getting Biafra for you. After that, he went on discouraging people from coming out to protest because of my radio call and that expose, in that expose on his not marching on October 1. After that, he went on to tell them not to ban or remove SARS. Now look at it. SARS police, because they are an important, potent legal ways of killing the Biafran youth, and that they should not show weakness or ponder to the outrage, wishes and outrage of Biafran youth, as that will be counterproductive and give them the guts to challenge the Fulani ironclad hold on Nigeria, on Nigerian armed forces in Nigeria, is controlled by Fulani. They should utilize the opportunity for their jihad and bring the Biafrans to the end of and bring their Quran to the end of the Atlantic in the former eastern region. Total capture, because they can never fight back, but go to internet to where? After this, move on to IPOB community radio. Now look at it. Go and listen. Go use your hand and listen to that broadcast of Nnamdi Kanu. What happened? The people were agitating for the ban of SARS. Even the vice president himself came up. I'm still come to the issue of Osibanjo. He came up, condemned it, and they were banning it. After this Nnamdi Kanu's broadcast, what happened? The ban or what? The police came and said no, they are not banning it because Nnamdi Kanu gave them the instruction to reverse it. Because now that open jihad, they are now trying to kind of soften it back. And I will tell you the key trigger again that they have used. They are using again. I will tell you they are trying to soften it back. So the only arm they have to be eliminating the use, if you walk on the road, they pick you, and that is no more. They will harvest the organ. Is the SARS. That SARS now the people that will be killing, eliminating Biafran use. That is the point. So that is why it is important for them to keep the SARS. And that's whether they ban it or not, you are going to eliminate SARS in their respective regions. The youth should form assassination squads, small group. When you see their vehicles, you burn it. When you see them in vulnerable positions, you kill all of them. You kill all of them. SARS will never come back, no matter whatever they do. Because they want to use it to depopulate our youth that we fight. Then when they finish all your youth, then you are gone. That is exactly what happened. Go and look at Nnamdi Kanu's broadcast of that day. Look at the situation reporters of that particular day that SARS is already fading out. But immediately after that, the police said no. The IG said no. So I'm going to tell you how we are going to face all these things. By what? By the counter order that Nnamdi Kanu gave through that is radio. Just go and watch. Don't believe me. Just anything we talk here, you go and watch. Go and watch. So all those regurgitation and all what? Tell me iPod broadcast that is causing confusion anywhere. Tell me what you can learn from all their broadcasts. There's no broadcast I did that is not giving you a very strong message. All of them, both Nnamdi Kanu, all of them are following me. They go and watch before we do any broadcast. Watch the situation report. Nothing. But immediately we do that broadcast, all of them will hook onto it. Bam, 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 bam. Look at this platform. Whom do you see here? Is it other IPOB members coming here to write rubbish up and down? It's my program for IPOB people. Why don't they go to their own program? Platform and start to write rubbish. Then we are different. Go and look at 97% is warfare here. More volatile than all their frequency radios put together. The Okoko master is following me. When did he start analyzing news with papers and all that? He's following me. The Okoko master in chief, Nnamdi Kanu, is following me. The original idea of his own. What does he do? Anytime he goes to internet, somebody says something that is reasonable, then it becomes his idea. Just like, let me just tell you exactly what he's doing. When the Beatles played, what is it? Obladi, Oblada, that was, it was called the White Music or something like that, the White Album by Paul McCartney. He was the one that did it. That album did not, that music, he was not the one who penned it. It was an African. I don't know where they go in the Caribbean and all that. I think one African did it, and he used to hang out in the same hotel where they come to do their practice or something like that. He was the one who gave Paul McCartney that particular song. Now, when that was an album that broke every record. When McCartney or Beatles sang that record, was any credit given to the boy? Because he's an unknown figure. Then this one go to the mountain top, blew it up, and it became their golden album and all that. That is something Nnamdi Kanu does. Because of the magnitude of their network, they say they are the highest movement in the world and all that. So when he comes to the internet, he picks something, go up, and start to blow it, and then it becomes his idea. That's what the Okoko do. When you are cooking, he perch on a tree looking at you. The moment the food is done and you want to go and bring something inside, the Okoko will fly down, carry your food and disappear. When he disappears, you give some script to Jonathan, give some to all those moronic assholes, Alozi and all that. Then the main one will be parroting it. That's what Nnamdi Kanu does. What is this Yoruba writer and all that? Is it Mike Howard, Sinka, or whatever he called himself? I don't know. He was working with Newsworld before or something like that. There was a time he wrote in his column, he made the real guy in the Caribbean who authored that Obladi, Oblada, that McCartney claimed the glory, and all that. And even said that McCartney himself even admitted in a later interview that that song was not his, that one black guy gave it to him or something like that. So that is what Nnamdi does, So because of their large platform, because all these things they are talking, IPOB believe that no matter how Biafra come, they can use their numerical strength to subjugate others and then take it. Because it's a business franchise. All of them are paying, they do their monthly contributions and all that. So to them, they are not sincere about getting Biafra. What is a business investment as long as they are concerned. So they don't know, they don't believe that immediately they get Biafra, they will use their numerical strength. But there's something they don't know. When you plan, there's another plan for you. They will now understand why the journey of 40 days took 40 years to go. You understand me? They think they will succeed, all of them will perish. They will all perish. Go and mark what I'm telling you. You are waiting up when the food is done. You want to climb my shoulder and get Biafra. You want to use me, then when the time comes, you subjugate us and you get all of you. Instead, Biafra will come in the name of Chukwu Okadiama. Go and mark what I'm telling you, through Nnamdi Kanu. 3/4 population of Biafrans will die. Go and mark it. When the journey for the Israelites, when God was using the Israelites, the Israelites was, that is a medium that God is using. But the essence of the thing is that God equally is using that medium to introduce himself to the world so that the world will know him. That is what we are repeating here. It's not all about Biafra Party. It is about people knowing the true identity of God, that is Jesus Christ. And I'm going to interpret God for you and everything, every mystery about God. We are going to pieces it and bring out revelation that have not been revealed anywhere in the world when we go to religious issue. That is what is happening. See, it's not about Biafra Party. But you people don't want to accept it about Biafra, about Jesus. That is what the name you don't want to hear. And you are prepared to perish, and you are going to perish. So because of your business investment, you believe you can, roughshod over us and all that and get what you are looking for. You are making a very big mistake. It's not going to work. We are going to be destroyed. They say, come out of her, my people, and the people refuse to listen. Go and watch Lazarus, and the rich man and all that. When they died, they went to heaven and all that. Lazarus was in the bosom of Abraham. The rich man said, Abraham, please can you send Lazarus to go and tell my people, lift somebody from the dead? Abraham said, no, they have the prophets, and you refuse to believe in what I'm saying. It will happen to you. That day it will not be holy. Namdekalo, it's another thing. You will be judged on your own personal identity, whether you like it or not. And you will perish. That is the point. Let me just finish this thing. Let me interpret exactly what Namdekalo have said. I've interpreted it. After passing that signal, what did you see? You hear him blah, 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 on Facebook, Skayamu, another Moroni household, and all that. SARS or Shomol and SARS, Kosu is paying people to identify IPOP members. That is exactly what is happening. I told you they are going to perish, all of you. Any place they kill enough your coordinate is a signal for you. Fulani to invade there. They have their ships and everything, Britain and all of them. They are harvesting your organs, taking them to India and United Kingdom. That is what is happening. He's instructing them to pay people so that they will be identifying you. A young man, healthy person, will be walking on the road, they will kidnap you, and that is the end of you. They will use pepper spray, gas on you. That you have already instructed them. Bomb, they will scatter innocent looking things. Their children will be passing, they see things, they pick it up and bomb will explode. They are going to use tankers again to be exploding everywhere for you people. And then when it starts, they are going to use high gravity bombs. That's the one they use in Festac. When it demolishes you, nothing will be left. There's nothing like hiding secret dead bodies or that, because all of them will be powder. They will turn into powder and vanish. That is exactly what is happening. If you like, Robin Cook, he said it. He said it's easier to deceive people than to convince them that they are being deceived. Since the ages, it's always like that. Slaves don't always welcome their deliverance. That's the way it is. You can look at Moses with the Israelites. Do you want to kill me the way you killed the Egyptians? Did you not go and tell her? So that is it. Look at it here. Very simple thing I'm doing because of the passion I have for my people. I can't deceive you. But yet, you can't believe me. But Okoko is what you believe. Okay, there's no problem. No problem. You're going to see what you want. After that blah, 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 for IPOP members, you still have a organ and all. You continue. After all said and done, we are always right. If somebody says to somebody that Ariwa Consultative Forum will come round to the position of IPOP, will you believe it? And for the very first time, Ohaneze has been compelled to do the right thing. I like the response that Nnaemwodo gave them. Nnaemwodo said, the Ariwa Consultative Forum, this thing you are saying now is what IPOP has been conversing for. In other words, you sent in other ways you sent Operation Python Dance 1, 2, 3, 4. And the Crocodile Smile to come and crush us. They failed to tell the world that I was asking for referendum. IPOP was always for referendum. Do you know the meaning of history and beauty of do you know the beauty of consistency? Is that after many years, because of this referendum, they came to kill us. But today, the people that sent soldiers to my house to kill me are today saying the same thing, that they too want referendum. Is that not very funny? I don't subscribe to what Ohaneze and Pantef are saying. I believe in what the Arewa is asking for, that we solve the whole problem. Let there be a referendum. Go and mark what I'm telling you. Biafra is not going to come by any referendum from the United Nations. Go and mark what I'm telling you. We are going to create Biafra. Biafra is a done deal. I want you people to understand what I'm saying. I can't deceive my people. Have hope. It's a done deal. I'm telling you with all amount of assurance. We hold them. We hold the 4 A's. We are holding them here. We are holding them there. And we should forget about it. Jesus conquered the world and gave us victory. That victory, we are going to claim it. I'm going to show you how we are going to decimate these world powers. That's it. Proactive. We are going to, we are forcing the monk to dance naked in the street. In the marketplace, they are dancing naked. There's no hiding place for them. They must be compelled to give us Biafra. You are going to see what I'm saying. So Biafra is not going to come by referendum. Don't mind that man that is talking all of them. All these things he's talking about Ohaneze and all that. They are what? Based of the same feather. They are based on the same feather. Nnamdi-Kanu, Ohaneze, Asari Dokubo, Wazirike, governors and all that. They are all in the same category. None of them are fighting. I will tell you what we are going to, all these saboteurs, I'm telling you what we are going to do. So you don't have to be afraid about that. So let us appraise the journey so far. Let's just try to appraise how far we have. So all these are consultative forum, request for referendum and all that, and then the blah 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 referendum. Don't mind them. It's not sincere. They are humoring you. It's a coven, in those days when you don't have all these gum rats and all that. To get a rat, you have to put a snare. Even fish, you have to put a snare. So that's the coven they're humoring you. It's a decoy, It's a decoy that they are using. What they are playing on you as soon as they call instructed is takuya. It's not papilla, whatever they call it. They're using this to deceive you. They are not talking of referendum. They want to capture you, make you slave. When you go to the Bible and you go to First Thessalonians, I think it's First Thessalonians 5, chapter 5, 3-7. It will tell you, when they will be saying peace and safety, sudden destruction cometh upon them as travel upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape it. That's what the Bible says. That is what exactly is playing out to deceive you, but you people think it's a joke. So now let's do a flashback, to really accommodate this thing, to see the head of the serpent that we are fighting, in order to tell you, in order that you will understand what I was saying, because when I was saying it, it becomes as if it's a joke. Let's see, because I'm trying to propose the letter the lawmakers of United Kingdom wrote, just to show you it's a jihad, and we are going to say it today. Let's just flash back on some of the contents, to come back, Let me just recap some of the things we said before I move forward. It's a United Nations expressed concern over high rate of extrajudicial killings in Nigeria. This is Vanguard, September 3, 2019. The United Nations Special Rapporteur for Extrajudicial and Arbitrary Execution, Agnes Callanad, has expressed concern over the high rate of extrajudicial killing in the country. The United Nations envoy, whose official visit to Nigeria ends, it's gone. Then what did she say? Let's go back to what she said. She said, according to Callanad, the overall situation that I encountered in Nigeria gives rise to extreme concern by many measures. The federal authorities and the international partners are presiding over an injustice pressure cooker. Some of the specific contents I examine are simmering. The warning signs are flashing bright red. Increased numbers of attacks and killings over the last 5 years, with a few notable exceptions, increased criminality and spreading insecurity. Widespread failure by the federal authorities to investigate and hold perpetrators to account, even for mass killings. This was when? This was September 3, 2019, more than a year and 1 month ago. Go and look at what is happening today. More than 1 month ago. Did the United Nations do anything about it? Now come again to this. Europe pushback from the same United Nations that we just played earlier. Europe pushback of migrants, shameful. United Nations Refugee Chief, Guardian of October 5, 2020. Look at it. Just a few days ago. The United Nations Refugee Chief on Monday lambasted countries which closed their doors to desperate migrants, and Europe's shameful refusal to allow migrants stranded at sea to disembark quickly. What is his name? Filippo Grandi. What did he say? I'm quoting him. We cannot allow, he said, the solution for their destination countries. Grandi told the opening of the United Nations Refugee Agency main annual meeting. What did he say? Cannot be to close the door. We cannot allow xenophobic reactions only meant to draw facile consensus and electoral votes to shape responses to challenges that are complex but manageable. Gandhi also warned of the deteriorating situation in African Sahel. He said he had recently visited the region, which he described as the theater of one of the most worrying situations, a political, security, and humanitarian crisis which has displaced millions. Few situations have shocked me as much the violence, the brutality, including horrifying stories of gruesome murder of parents in front of their children. In the past year alone, more than 600,000 people have been forced to flee their homes in the region. Thousands of schools have been destroyed and thousands of women raped. Grandi said, we need to restore a sense of urgency in the Sahel response. He insisted. Sense of urgency. Did you hear anything from United Nations? Then what did you get from United Nations? You have seen it. All this complaint. Look at the intensity of the complaint. What do you have it? Now look at it. Now, let's still look at this one again. United Nations EU Special Rep visit Buratai. That's the response you get. After all these things, what did you get? United Nations EU Special Rep visit Buratai 6 areas of partnership to end Boko Haram and ISWAP. This is Vanguard, November 20, 2019. November 20, 2019. I hope the world is listening to this record. Let me read the report for you. 2019, after all those seminal reports that we had on the killings. It said the United Nations Special Representative for West Africa and the Sahel, Ambassador Mohammed Ibu Chambers. This is the main human beast. This is the one that pays and wounded them. That's the one that bribed all these traditional leaders in Biafra land. This is the one. Humbeast. Or we call them bisons. That's it. Ibu Chambers, the United Nations Special Representative for Central Africa, Ambassador Francois Paul, and the European Union of Special Representative for the Sahel and Lake Chad Basin Commission, Ambassador Angel Luswada, on Wednesday visited the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Yusuf Buratai, at Army Headquarters. They were at Army Headquarters according to Ambassador Honorable Chambers, according to Ambassador Ibn Chambers, to ascertain how the world bodies could intervene and support the affected countries and in particular states affected by the destructive effect of terrorism. While noting that the gallant efforts of the Nigerian army in combating the terrorists and countering and curtailing their destructive activities is not only Nigeria, but the West African sub-region were legendary. Can you imagine? Ambassador Ibn Chambers said the world bodies would also partner the army in capacity and other supports. His words, the openness of the Nigerian army to the United Nations has become legendary. We are here in the context of the visit to Boko Haram affected areas. We have visited Cameroon, Chad. This is our last leg in Nigeria. The objective is to support affected states to see how the United Nations, EU, and other stakeholders can work together in the fight against violent extremism. Get that word. I've interpreted it before. Against what? Violent extremism. Hold that word. And what? Terrorism. Have you seen the opening? That what? The openness of the Nigerian army to the United Nations has become what? Legendary. That is the response to all those red flashing blood signals that they received. Not once, not two, since last year. Now look at what they said about the army. So we are going to see the violent extremism for you to know exactly what we are talking about. I repeat, for emphasis and legal documentation from the United Nations special representatives, I repeat again. And Ibn Chambers said the war bodies would also partner the army capacity and other support. His words, Ibn Chambers. And I'm quoting him. The openness of the Nigerian army to the United Nations has become what? Legendary. We are here in the context of the visit to Boko Haram affected areas. We have visited Cameroon, Chad. This is our last leg in Nigeria. The objective is to support affected states to see how the United Nations, EU, and other stakeholders can work together in the fight against violent extremism and terrorism. The target is not Boko Haram, it's what? Violent extremism. Now, responding for record purposes and emphasis, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Yusuf Buratai, commended both international bodies for standing by Nigeria in the effort to dislodge terrorism and violent extremism from the sub-region. That is the main objective is what? Violent extremism. Don't forget that. Then that brings us to the letter we are digesting, we have been dissecting. Insurgent UK lawmakers write Commonwealth over killings in Nigeria, Punch September 23, 2020, that we are still going to dissect further. Look at all these days. Have you seen any action? No action. Then look at this one again that we have read before. UK Parliament, killings in Nigeria, disturbing. Must stop. Tribune of 30th of June 2018. Since 2018, instead of the thing coming down, it has been worse. Now what did we get? Look at the anxiety expressed by Lord Aston. What did Lord Aston say? Who raised the issue, spoke on the more than 200 people, mostly women and children, who were killed in sustained attacks on 50 villages by armed Fulani militias just this past weekend, adding that people are dying daily. This alone should serve as a wake-up call, a way to watch one of Africa's greatest countries go the way of Sudan. We will be indifferent as radical forces sweep across the Sahel, seeking to replace diversity and differences with a monochrome ideology that will impose with violence on those who refuse to comply. We must not wait for a genocide to happen as it did in Rwanda. Ominously, history could easily be repeated. Acton warned. When was it? 2018. Say June 2018, more than 2 years ago. Did you see any response? Let us wait the response, just as we have seen the response from the United Nations, and this is for world record. And before we do that, what is it? Queen of England congratulates Nigeria as sister. This is by the Presidency Punch of September 30, 2020. He said the presidency on Wednesday said the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, has sent a message of felicitation to the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired on Nigeria's state independence holding on Thursday. This was contained in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, titled "The Queen of England congratulates Nigeria on 60th independence anniversary." Adesina said the Queen's message was conveyed by the British High Commission in Nigeria. Quoting him, "It gives me great pleasure to offer my warmest congratulations on the 60th anniversary of Nigerian independence, together with my best wishes for your country continued happiness and prosperity." You have seen the happiness we're enjoying, okay? The quoting, "The United Kingdom and Nigeria benefit from strong and enduring ties as Commonwealth partners through shared history and, most importantly, our people. These are bonds that I hope and believe will flourish long into the future." The statement quoted the Queen's message. Nigeria got her independence from Great Britain on October 1, 1960. I'm reading this for record and legal purposes. You know, as the British historian and professor of history noted, that is Sir John Robert Seeley, say history is past politics and politics present history. You see it. So there's no thing like ancient history. They are the same, and that is exactly what is happening today. That is when that Janjaweed Nnamdi Kanu was saying, write it down, Britain is going to, that Muslims are going to take over Britain. Forget about it, it's not a prophecy, okay? The whole 5 international airports in Britain today is being owned by Nigeria, and they have sold up everything they have. Muslims have already taken over everything in Britain, so that is not a prophecy. It's not a prophecy, okay? Britain is already gone. You see them beggars in the street. So look at it. Honda, the only plant they have in London, they have removed their production plant from London. Go and check it. What are they expecting? They are not expecting anything. But the main purpose of what I am reading is what? The target is what? Violent extremism, which brings us to the head of the main snake that we are hitting. And that is what we are going to see this race that is called violent extremism, before we now enter into the total dissection of Nnamdi Kanu's brokers of the one that dealt with the letter of these British lawmakers. Because I told you before, you go back into the system of government, how Biafra will come and all that. We have to remove the present danger that is on our head. We have to remove it. And this brings to my notice, what is his name or whatever. For some time now, have you seen Ushemofo coming to broadcast? Because he's feeling remorseful. You know that the cookie has crumbled. The other one they brought, is it Honorable Emeka Okadu, whom they claim is their general, secretary general or whatever. I know they just radioed that man and blindfolded him into making the utterances that he made, when they brought him as their guest, I think that was in July of this year. So the issues that are involved now is no longer a joke. It's incumbent upon him to come and tell the Biafrans the truth. What is IPOP roadmap? You came there and you are telling them all sorts of stories. You will come here, you can no longer keep silent because the life of millions of people are involved. If you don't come out to denounce what is happening and state exactly what happened, when did you become the Secretary General of IPOP? And what is IPOP roadmap? It will become, you are going to be shot as a saboteur. Treasonable family, when Biafra comes, there's no joke about it. And you will become what? A black sheep in your family, bringing the hope and aspiration of your future generation to a very horrid end. The same thing with Ushemofo. You should come out. Come out. You can't keep silent. This one is every day he's parroting. You people have been swearing oath to Nnamdi Kanu. Tell Nnamdi Kanu to swear by anything he likes. If he had ever betrayed the Biafran cause or if he's fighting for Biafra, let him swear what will happen to him by whatever he likes. Let him swear with it. And let us see what happens afterwards. So it's very, very important. You understand me? So now we go back to the head. Not that word, violent extremism. That is the most important thing. Violent extremism is connected to what? This dragon banner. Medieval time, we have interpreted it. Which is about the war for Scottish sovereignty fought by Robert the Bruce, King of Scots. It's very much about brutal warfare and combat, which is jihad. People that are trying to break away. So let us know that people that are what? That are trying to break away. Let us know who are these people that are trying to break away so that we can be able to be able to understand all the host signals that are being passed. And we are going to locate these people, violent extremism, in what? John Kerry's speech on Tuesday, the 23rd of August 2016, titled Importance of Resilient Communities and Religious Tolerance Encountering Violent Extremism. I want everybody to hold it. From the United Nations, violent extremism. From Buratai, violent extremism. From UK Parliament, violent extremism. From John Kerry in Sokoto, violent extremism. Then let us understand that violent extremism before we can be able to move forward. Now, this is what John Kerry said. Curbing extremism, in his speech he delivered, I'm quoting an extra from him. He said, curbing extremism. I want people to understand. Now, certainly, northeastern Nigeria is not the only region that is plagued by violent extremism, and sadly, Boko Haram isn't the only terrorist group that we face in the world today. Earlier this year, an Islamic militant group linked to Al-Qaeda killed 30 people when they bombed a hotel in Burkina Faso. Over the first 6 months of 2016, the Lord's Resistance Army abducted more than 500 people, mostly in the Central African Republic and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And just a few days ago, Al-Shabaab militants killed 15 people and injured more than 80 when they detonated an attack near an open market in Gakayo in Somalia. And terrorists from or inspired by Daesh have carried out vicious attacks in Europe, the Middle East, South Asia, and the United States of America. So make no mistake, we do not have to be prisoners of this violent extremism. We do not have to be prisoners of this violent extremism. It can be eliminated. I'm still quoting him. These are the various London second Boko Haram commanders and terrorist groups that they are using Nnamdi Kanu's IPOP radio to give signal in Nigeria. Then continue now, listen the hatred upon the race called violent extremism. I'm still quoting John Kerry. No one anywhere has to live or should have to live among this evil. Among what? This evil. And it is evil. but isn't going to disappear on its own. And that is something that is eminent. The Sultan understands better than anybody as he preaches tolerance and brings interfaith groups together in order to do the hard work of pushing back against extremism. It takes words and it takes leadership. And it will require sustained effort from all of us, from regional, national, and subnational leaders from the United Nations and other multinational institutions. It will take great efforts by law enforcement and civil societies, and I want you to know today that the United States is deeply committed to this effort, including by helping our partners to be able to build counter-terrorism capacity. That is why at the State Department, we introduced a countering violent extremism strategy earlier this year, and it is why we are working so hard to implement it. Though I might add, you all are already under the leadership of the governor, and the Sultan are already engaged in their own countering violent extremism effort. So all these efforts are really what? Geared into what? Subjugation of the race called violent extremism. Subjugation of the race called violent extremism. Let me just emphasize something on the speech of John Kerry, for legal and purposes. He said no one anywhere has to live or should have to live among this evil, and it is evil, but it isn't going to disappear on its own, and that is something that His Eminence and Sultan understand better than anybody as he preaches tolerance and brings interfaith groups together in order to do the hard work of pushing back against extremism. It takes work and it takes leadership, and it will require sustained effort from all of us, from regional, national, and subnational leaders from the United Nations and other multinational institutions. It will take great effort by law enforcement and civil societies. This is where SARS and all of them came in. Have you seen it? All the atrocities, all the roadblocks that we are seeing in Biafra land. This is the origin and the killers. Now, why I emphasize on this, what regional efforts. Let's go back to the response of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuko Buratai, to the special representative rapporteurs of the United Nations. He have told you it will take sustained effort both from United Nations and all of them, regional and all that, to Ibri Chambers, the Humbies himself, all of them. Look at it. Now, responding, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuko Yusuf Buratai, commended both international bodies for standing by Nigeria in the effort to dislodge terrorism and what? Violent extremism from the sub-region. He said, the Nigerian army will look like areas of collaboration, pointing out that the multinational joint task force, where Nigeria is contributing more than a brigade, is a veritable platform for more collaboration. Have you seen it? Both the joint task force and all of them. Have you seen it? Then ask yourself, where is the joint task force since all this killing by Boko Haram? Even when the Chadian president himself, ordinary Chadian army, have to dislodge Boko Haram, where is the joint task force? Have you seen it? It was killed towards the race, called what? Violent extremism. And from John Kerry himself, let us see who is violent extremism. Indeed, we are still going back to that his speech, and he's sick, exactly as he said it, which I recorded in the magazine, that I told you I wrote in 2016. Even in that magazine, this was where I said that Buhari will not finish his tenure. So when the issue of Buhari came up, that he's dead and all that, that from that gender we didn't Nnamdi Kanu, as I told you, it did not come out from Nnamdi Kanu. It was that junkie, Femi Fani-Kayode. It was Obasanjo who revealed it to Femi Fani-Kayode through Fayose and all that, who told it to Nnamdi Kanu, and they started blabbing it up and down. Femi Fani-Kayode went and sued a journalist because they called him a junkie. I'm waiting for him to sue me, but he couldn't. I want him to sue me so that when he sued me, he sued a journalist because he was asking him who was bankrolling him. It's IBB, Obasanjo and Ibrahim Babangida, those are the people bankrolling him. He's the middleman between them. They are going to get his passing message to all the whole Southeastern governors. That is what he's doing, all the whole South and Southeastern governors on how to kill the agitation for Biafra. That is the message is free from jumping up and down. That was why he got annoyed when that question was asked him. I saw one girl with a placard. He said, truth sounds like hate for those who hate truth. And that is true. That is true. Let him sue me so that Obasanjo, who kidnapped the Chibok girls with the United Nations, they will now come out and they will now bring that Buhari out. That's what I'm looking for. Let him sue me. Obasanjo, all of them in his little thing, they sue. Just like that Janjaweed, Nnamdi Kanu, is keeping quiet upon all the whole broadcasts I have made, pouring negative things upon him. He cannot respond because they tell him not to respond. He was the one who told you that, he first told you that Chibok's girls, when Obasanjo kidnapped them with Bill Clinton and this United Nations and all that, they told him, they told him to continue to maintain that Chibok's girls were not kidnapped. That was what him and Uchemafo continued to maintain, that Chibok's girls were never kidnapped. But the other day, what did he say? Say Nigerian army came to rescue Boko Haram and all that, you know, they plan to use gas, and before they can come, the Nigerian collaborators, Nigerian army have gone to tell Boko Haram. When they get there, they make Boko Haram with gas masks and all that. Which Chibok's girls are you talking about that you say did not exist? Don't like you claim that Jesus Christ never existed. They are calling him Yehoshua and all that. And then you go reading the Lord's Prayer and all that. Did they call Jesus Christ Yehoshua in the Bible? That's the Janjaweed that is leading all of you to hell. But people are not. Look at it. Look at it. That dragon flag. I'm tracing the origin of the dragon flag, and the target of the dragon flag is what? Violent extremism. That is what I want you people to know. So let Femi Fani-Kayode come here, have the effrontery, the idiot, the very degenerate beast of the lowest order, have the effrontery to open up your mouth and talk scum about Biancono. You are a mad idiot. You are a mad bastard idiot for you to open your mouth to insult our own first lady. You are a bastard idiot. So I'm looking for you to sue me, and if you don't sue me, you and Obasanjo, it will not be good for you forever and ever. Idiot. So now let's come back to John Kerry's speech on violent extremism. I'm quoting him from what he said, because these are legal documents. Now, look at I'm quoting John Kerry's speech, and I'm reading from my decode of 2016. I'm quoting him. He said, equality and tolerance, justice and mercy, compassion and humility. These are values that transcend religion, ethnicities, and all kinds of moral codes. They are certainly in teaching with the teaching of Islam that has enriched the world for centuries. Now, listen. And those who will tear our communities apart, pitting one religion or one sect against another, they can only be defeated by citizens' unyielding commitment to unity and mutual understanding. End of quote from John Kerry. Let me repeat it again. From John Kerry. Equality and tolerance, justice and mercy, compassion and humility. These are values that transcend religion, ethnicities, and all kinds of moral codes. They are certainly in teaching with the teaching of Islam that has enriched the world for centuries. And those who will tear our communities apart, pitting one religion or one set against another, they can only be defeated by citizens' unyielding commitment to unity and mutual understanding. End of quote. It is in this context that you will understand why the federal government gave the Fulanese radio. And it is in this context that you will understand Nnamdi Kanu's so-called community radio and why he made it compulsory that they will download the community radio app, and why he wants to spread it all over Nigeria. He said he's taking it to Daura and Katsina and all that. It is in this context. Now let us interpret it. This is exactly from John Kerry, from America, tying America direct. What does it mean? According to my journal that I wrote in 2016, as I told you. I think match this statement with the reproduced earlier treated statement on evil that no one anywhere in the world have to live with, that the United Nations and every institution in the world has already united to eliminate from the surface of the earth something referring to the same race or group of people. Now ask the question. Who are those race or group in Nigeria today most vociferous and seriously want to separate from the Nigerian state today? That's the question. and those who will tear our communities apart. Our what? Communities apart. The answer is as clear as crystal. The group is the Biafrans as a group. If one still insists on separating these two twin brothers of the same parents apart, they are still linked and binded by the same bloodline, the same destiny, and they too, if you choose to call them Niger Delta people, had threatened to declare their independence. If the world does not understand them and know that they are one people, why are they not treating the Niger Delta people differently as they are treating the Igbos, whom they are pointing to the Niger Delta people that they are not their brothers, as they are not suffering the same fate in Nigeria? That is the interpretation. Meaning what? The Biafrans are the people that are what? Violent extremism by John Kerry. Have you seen it? Who wants to do what? Tear our communities apart. That is the secret code that the whole world have to know. And I told you that they wanted to carry out this jihad and they still want to carry it out. That what they intended to do was to use that film acted by Peter Dozier, which will reflect Sasaki and Muhammad as time goes on, to cause destruction and cause the trigger point to start their jihad and kill people. But when I said that in the last edition that was published, they now went back. And you know the target now? The death of the American president, Donald Trump, which brings us to the issue of Donald Trump, as which we are going to treat, because that is another emergency in the so-called coronavirus positive test. You may not know it, he doesn't know it. He thinks he's a walking corpse. The arrow of death has already been shot at him. I can release him, I can rescue him. They can give him access to it. I have to give him something he'll be taking to kill the poison that they have already injected in his body. Otherwise, he's going. What you will hear is that Trump is dead and Melina have recovered. That is one difference between God and Satan. When God takes a man, he takes away the spirit. When Satan takes a man, he lifts the spirit. The spirit commences torment. That brings us what they are engineering now. Let me just tell Trump exactly what he's going to do. For instance, what they are doing is that they are rerunning DACA. That is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which I was the person that killed it when they were, very vociferous about DACA and all that, when I revealed it. And I revealed it in the edition, live interview I had with the BVI. It was on what? The title is what? Leaked. 2019 election rigged already. Here is the evidence. That was a live interview that was conducted on February 14, 2019. Before the 2019 election, that I told them exactly how INEC will lead that election. After what I said, I told them that there's nothing INEC can do except to postpone that election. That my expose was what caused the postponement of Nigerian election. They postponed it to the next weekend. That was what happened because of that exposure. That initially, that thing, that it was about 52,000 people that viewed that thing before they blocked it. Go to playlist of BVI, all these my videos, you cannot see them on playlist. Since that time, these people blocked it and they have never allowed any of my video again to cross 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. That is what they have been doing. I know the scientific revelation that I've been making, the possibility of what science can do with the revelations that I've been making. That if my actual value, they have not been blocking my distance, and that my actual value is quantified in terms of money. I know that the richest man, Jay Bose, he will be the head boy in my house, supervising two immediate servants of Bill Gates and Zuckerberg. Dangote will be my gatekeeper. He will not even be allowed to enter into my house, just like Bill Gates will not go to my kitchen, so that he doesn't poison me with his, food, genetic food, improved food, the food modification that he's doing. Just like Zuckerberg cannot enter my parlor, my study, so that he don't plant chips, to destroy my computer. That's the fact. That is true. Dangote will not even be allowed to enter into my household. if it is to be quantified. I'm saying this because I am going to sue YouTube. And if I'm suing them, I will sue them for $999 billion. I'm telling you, I'm going to arrange something against them. Unless they do what? Hands off from tampering with all my editions, to release all my videos and let it flow the normal way it is supposed to flow. I'm giving them this warning, and if they don't do it, they continue to tamper with what I'm putting down. Let them be prepared. That is, I will remove more hair from my body, from my hair, and I will think about them, and they are going to see what exactly I'm going to do to them. So it brings us to the issue of DACA. When you go to that, DACA was the man who proposed it. When I told them that DACA was an imbued, the Democrats have already imbued phantom vote in the upcoming election. People should go and view that edition. They should go and view it, type it and view it, because if you look at the playlist, you will not say it. People should go and view it. So you see the expose that was made there. So that is what they are rerunning with the, with the death of Trump. And I'll show you how they are planned it. What they failed to achieve with DACA is what the Democrats are what they are hoping to achieve with the mail-in ballot. In this particular edition, that is what will undo President Trump. I arrived in America in December 23rd, 2016. I've already said that in my series, and there's no time to repeat it. On 29 December, I wrote a letter to President, 29 December, just about 3 days later, and all that. I write 23rd, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Less than 6 days, I wrote a letter to President Trump. And this is very important to make reference to that particular letter, because like what I told you, when God takes a man, he takes away the spirit. But when the devil takes a man, he leaves the spirit. Let me just abridge some of the things I wrote to him, I said, your planned assassination is the final signal to the already laundered terrorists in the guise of Nigerian soldiers in Biafra land, for the elimination of millions of the people of the former eastern region of Nigeria, Biafrans, exactly as was done in Rwanda in the early 1990s. In 1994, as was ordered by Barack Obama, that is the jihad in Nigeria, through the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in his coded speech delivered in Sokoto on Tuesday, the 23rd of August, 2016, which is the subject matter of the enclosed email to you, which do the page to you. Then I continue. It is important to let you know that the CIA and all top security apparatus of your country are all involved in this planned assassination of your humble self, as I suggest that you withdraw to your shell momentarily, shunning all outside engagement for now. Throw a new security blanket over yourself, not from the regular established security outreach. Keep your thoughts and actions, or your would-be action, to yourself until you take over. What is at stake globally is beyond imagination, and so many countries are in alliance with the democratic leadership on what they plan to do against you, namely, but not limited to countries like United Nations leadership, Britain, Germany, France, Cameroon, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, of course, so many Arab states. This year planned assassination is the most important project on the front burner in the world today, and everything is being sacrificed for its successful accomplishment. And as far as the plotters are concerned, nothing will hinder its success, and nothing is too big to nothing is too big to sacrifice, in order to accomplish it, no matter how many people die in the process. It is as far and as serious as that, sir. That is what I wrote to him. And that is exactly what they are rerunning as of today. So what actually happened? What actually happened is that President Trump, by the time they planned this thing, President Trump was an outsider who came into governance. So he's not privy to it, because I told you that American foreign policy is dictated by American press. It's not a question of, if you're a president, you have to follow their program. If you don't, the CIA will execute you. So Trump came with Christian nobility. He was an outsider. So immediately he took over. What happened? He couldn't sanction it. There's no way they can implement it because he's an outsider. He have not been indoctrinated into the system, the rigors of the American system. And that was when they planned to carry out that jihad. And that was what prevented, they have to suspend that particular jihad. Now, Trump has been cooked into that. And that is what they want to carry out now with Trump's acquiescence. He understood it and he accepted it. But what changed everything was what? The coronavirus pandemic. That was why they staged this death of Trump, to use it. And look at Democrats. When they came in, the Democrats took the word God out of the pledge, of allegiance at the National Convention. At first, I thought they made a mistake, but it wasn't. It was done on purpose. This is what President Trump said. President Trump himself, I saw him with a t-shirt. He said, no matter who is president, Jesus is king. So between two evils, there is the lesser one. So the pandemic now changed everything. When there was this interview between Trump and Biden and all that, when he told the white supremacists, stand back and stand by, that was a very dangerous order. So now what they want to do, the same thing they want to do before, to use Trump, the death of Trump, to trigger off this jihad, that is complete massacre of what is happening. China is very much seriously behind what is happening with all this alliance of international communities. Now look at it. China, US clash at United Nations General Assembly. It said the United States and China on Tuesday engaged in war of words over the COVID-19 pandemic at the United Nations General Assembly. President Donald Trump, in his pre-recorded video message, referred to coronavirus as China's virus. Trump maintained that China and the World Health Organization deliberately lied to the rest of the world on COVID-19 mode of transmission. We must hold accountable the nations which unleashed this plague into the world. China, in the earliest day of this virus, China locked down travel domestically while allowing flights to leave China and infect the world and all that. So what is it? World Health Organization, the United Nations, they are already roped in. They are facing a very big problem with China and everything. That is, if Trump should come back as the president. So the only way to solve this problem, they want to use one stone to kill two birds. Eliminate Trump, kill him. Then the road will be free for them to do the massacre that they want to do in Nigeria. That is why they want to kill Trump. And what is it? Now look at the security setup in America. Now, both CIA, all the intelligence outfit of all the security apparatus, intelligence outfit in America are controlled by these globalists, these Democrats and their sympathizers. How did the Russian probe come about? Look at it, I told you that Russian probe was authored by John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, with John Pompeo, their present American Secretary of State, with Obama. They were the people who did it. They did it, and they did what they sent it to Christopher Steele, who pretended as if he was the one who authored it and came back and gave it through this Senator McCain, John McCain. I told you he committed a medically induced suicide. He knew what he did. McCain now took it to kill Comey. And all that. That was what happened. John Brennan, all of them were involved in it. That is what happened. And even up to now, at least I'm looking for a retirement fund. I'm looking for somebody who can commission me to write a very good book on Russian scamburger of election meddling, so that I can from there get some money for myself. That was what happened. They brought it, they scammed it back. The same McCain brought it back to John Kerry, and the investigation started. Let them go and trace the root. That was what actually happened. And the system they are using now, they have supplanted their agents. Even if you say, let me remove the present CIA director, the next person is still a globalist. They have supplanted this in up to 3-4 to 4-fold. Who are the people that will monitor the so-called mailing box? Is it not the same security outfit? So Trump is already cooked. His grease is already cooked. So the only thing that he can do, President Trump, is to immediately replace the late Supreme Court judge, who is that Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She has to replace him. Use his power to postpone the election. If it cannot be postponed, let him be the man he's supposed to be. And do what? Nullify the mail-in box. Anything pertaining to electronic voting, let him remove it, or mail-in box. Let the people be present and vote. If not, he's finished. Which security will guide him? The same people who are very much against him, because what I'm telling him, he's facing immediate death. I have told him in the last edition, I told him that Oshone Cataclysm is coming up against him because of his refusal to do what recognize Biafra. And if he doesn't recognize it, surely he must die. So already cooked in into the electoral process of America that is coming today is what? Multifaceted violence. Trump can only save the situation by being, it's not about people. Why should Democrats collaborate? And look at China. China want to be the god of this nation. After their own superimposed rulership, they don't want any other power to rise again forever and ever. China want to be in control. That is why they want to do what? Destroy Taiwan. I told you they are going to invade Taiwan. At the same time, they will instigate North Korea to, invade South Korea, because they don't want any technology to rise up and challenge them again. That is the secret behind all these things. So when you come to Fulani, when you come to Nigeria here, they tell you Fulani nationality. They are not talking about Nigerian. So that is it. It is in the alignment of the what? The two C's that I told you about. What I have been telling you, that the Fulanis, that they are Charles Darwin's missing link. You understand me? The conception that took place in Eden, the seed of the serpent, and so they are gathering according to their kind. That is why Democrats can go and betray their country and embrace China and do anything. They are not looking at countries, they are looking at themselves, people, humbies or bison. That is exactly what he's doing. So if President Trump don't take this proactive action, he is going to die. Nothing saves him. And I'm telling him, I've revealed a secret for him. So let him use this opportunity to do what? To save himself, stand his feet on the ground. That the pandemic have caused a lot of problems. Let there be a shift in the election. If there's not going to be a shift, cancel the mail-in box. If you don't cancel it, you are finished. Then replace the Supreme Court judge. Those are the areas you start to get yourself. If not, you are finished. Now look at it. Let me just read one thing for you. Let me read one thing for you. You say, Trump had already said that United Nations will have to hold China responsible, for the COVID-19. Okay. Now let me look at this thing. It's a United Nations chief seek 335 billion funding for WHO's COVID-19 vaccine research, September 11, 2020. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres yesterday called for quantum leap in funding for the World Health Organization, WHO initiative to speed up the development of COVID-19 vaccines, therapeutics and diagnostic. The project, known as the Access to COVID-19 Tool Accelerator, has received $3 billion, which Guterres called critical as a seed funding, but we now need 35 billion more to go from startup to scale up and impact. The United Nations chief told an online meeting of the ACT Facilitation Council. Now the question arises: where did WHO get the vaccine? The vaccine they are sending to Nigeria. Have you seen how they are destroying us? And that brings us to the appointment of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, because I told her not to accept that appointment, and she accepted it. Now look at it. Okonjo-Iweala, against whose appointment, the Nation of April 26, 2020, say former Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has been named by the World Health Organization as the special envoy for the newly inaugurated Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator. She is to serve alongside British business executive Sir Andrew Whitty in the same capacity to mobilize international commitment to the initiative, according to the news agency of Nigeria. The Director General of the WHO, Dr. Testus Bugeseyus, made announcement during the launch of the ACT Accelerator via Wembla from Geneva. I would especially like to thank Sir Andrew Whitty and Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala for agreeing to act as special envoy for the art accelerator, Bege said in his remark. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala said on her Twitter handle yesterday that she felt honored and humbled to serve with Sir Andrew on the challenging and vital global endeavor. The initiative is an international collaboration aimed at accelerating the development, production, and the equitable distribution of COVID-19 drugs, test kits, vaccines around the world, and so on, blah, 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 blah. Now, why did Ngozi Okonjo, it was Obasanjo who forced them to go and put Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala there, and I told her not to accept it, she accepted it. Why did they put Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala? Because Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is one of the greatest con artists as cover-up. I told her, if she liked, she have taken American citizenship. When the time comes, we are going to bring her back. She is going to tell us all those money Obasanjo laundered when his tenure. Both the contract he signed with that criminal, the president of China, Xi Jinping, who is just a criminal. The contract they signed, this Mambila, have they been executed? And all the loans China is giving to these people and using our place as collateral. We are going to show his pants down. What did Obasanjo do with Abacha's loot that was recovered and all that? That was why they put Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala there. And she's going to answer for all those questions. If they like, let them go and carry them and put a World Trade Organization or whatever. They cannot kill more than millions of people and they go free. It cannot happen. So this is the thing. President Trump should stand up and stand his feet on the ground. We are still coming to, in those areas, to go and show how Biafra will come and other sequences we are going to treat. But I have to say this in order to make President Trump to still stay alive. And he needs to contact me so that those poison that is already on him is ejected. If not, his time is up. People come and you say, join on Nnamdi Kanu. How can you join with a criminal?